guys, this is Stormouse03, and this is my Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Dark Difficulty walkthrough. I'm going to be showing you how to get through this game on the hardest difficulty and have a lot of fun while doing it. Something to note about this game is that it consists of a prologue and 3 acts, and after Act 1 it forks, and so there are 2 different paths that you can choose to go through the game. I'm going to be taking the Iorveth path because that's the one that I have played before when I played on Dark Difficulty, and so that's the one that I know. And it's supposedly also the more difficult of the 2 paths, so that's good in terms of the guide. So that's just something to keep in mind. That is the path that I'm going to be taking for this guide, and that's what you're going to be seeing. So let's go ahead and get started here and start a new game on Dark Difficulty. It's going to ask you if you want to begin the tutorial, and I'm not going to do that just because there's no real point. I've already played the game. I don't need the tutorial, but that's certainly something that you can do to practice the mechanics of the game to get the controls down and all that. So I'm going to be skipping a bunch of the cutscenes at the beginning and starting off in the tent here. And forgive me a little bit of sloppiness with my moving around here at the beginning. I hadn't played this game in a while, and I had played several games in between the last time I completed it and filming this guide, so I am do a little bit of derping here with moving my character around at the beginning, just trying to get adjusted back to the controls and whatnot. Something that you want to make note of is that you control how fast Geralt moves by how far you push your stick forward. So if you just slightly nudge it forward, he'll walk, and if you push it forward all the way, he'll run, like you're seeing right now. You want to pick up all the stuff that you can in this area. I'm going to pick up a bunch of herbs, and that's so that I can make some potions and get an achievement here early on in the game. So you want to make sure to do that. And I'm going to be showing you as many of the achievements, I think, as I can do during this run. But the real purpose of this is not to, get all the achievements in this run. It's not possible to get them all in one run. And a lot of them, it's better to get in a lower difficulty anyway. This is just showing you the dark difficulty, first and foremost. So you want to come over here, talk to these guys, and they're going to tell you about this medallion that they found. And you want to make sure that you take a certain path through this so that you can get some rewards from this quest later on down the road. So you want to answer these guys' questions with "I doubt it," and that's going to make it so that this character later on in the game, the guy on the left, is going to be able to help you out and give you some rewards, and you'll also be able to continue on with this quest that gets triggered by doing this Melidele's Heart. So just keep that in mind. You want to answer him that way, and then carry on picking up herbs and looting for stuff and, picking up whatever you can. I'm speeding through some of this just because I'm really just going around the camp and picking up stuff. Looting is really important in this game. Pretty much all of the things that you can loot are valuable, so you can either sell them or use them to craft or use them for some purpose. So you want to pick up as much stuff as you can. It's really important that you loot pretty much everything that is possible to loot. When you come down into the next area where I'm going to go, there's going to be some training dummies, and you want to make sure that you destroy all 5 of these with your sword. This is part of getting an XP boost that's really important to get as soon as you can in the game. So you want to make sure that you destroy all 5 of these. There will be 5 in Act 1 that you can destroy as well, and after you've destroyed those 10, you will get an XP boost that will help you to level up faster as you go through the game. And on this difficulty especially, it's really important to level up as much as you can, be getting more of those perks faster. There is a glitch that I've heard of where some people say that it's possible to go back up to the tent where you started and go into the tent and then come back out, and that will sometimes respawn this area so that you can get those 5 training dummies again, giving you a total of 10 this early in the game and giving you that XP boost already. I've never been able to actually make that happen, and so I feel like that's unreliable, and so I'm not going to be trying to show you how to do that. I'm going to just show you the regular way and show you that you can get through it without doing that.
Greetings.
Now I'm just going to show you how to do a couple of the little games that you can do throughout the course of this game. There's arm wrestling, which we're going to do with this guy right here. And what you want to do for this is use your left stick to keep the little circle in the middle of the little bar down here at the bottom. So you see that it's sort of moving. It always goes to the left a little bit first and then starts to move slowly to the right. You want to just slowly tap your left stick over a little bit to make sure that you keep it in the middle of that bar, and you will win the arm wrestling. And that's important. We want to go ahead and do that to help for an achievement that we're going to get here a little bit later. We're also going to play dice poker with this guy right here. Dice poker is basically poker. If you know the rules of poker, then you should be okay for this. You have sides on these dice that go 1 through 6, and you just want to make sure that you sort of, I have two 5s right now, which is good because it's better than what the other guy rolled. So even if I don't really get anything else here, it should be okay. So you select the dice that you want to re-roll, and I'm going to show you a little trick here. You can move them to the corner and kind of stack them up, and that will help you sometimes. There's a super frustrating achievement in this game that involves getting all 5 of your dice to be the same side, and doing that trick will sometimes help you be able to control where the dice fall and be able to do that a little bit better. It is pretty random though, and just kind of involves doing it over and over and over until you get lucky with the placement of the dice. So in any case, as long as you win there, you're fine as far as the achievement that we're going to be getting later for winning all 3 of the minigames. And so I'm just going to move on here. And so I'm going to talk about the inventory a little bit right now. So you have a lot of stuff. You don't really want to be looking in this one where it shows everything all together. It does kind of separate stuff. And what I'm going to do now is make sure that I have the armor that I want equipped. I'm starting off with this Blue Stripes combat jacket, and I want to make sure to equip that because it's better than just the leather jacket that I start off with. And I'm going to be taking a more magic focused path through this game because I like that better. I feel like it's easier for people to achieve without being really, really good at the combat of the game, which is kind of wishy-washy, especially when you get on this difficulty. So I'm going to be focusing on magic here. This place with the enhancements are just different things that you can put onto your swords to give you a little bonus against certain enemies or increase your damage, like this whetstone right here will just sharpen your sword for a bit. With your potions, I'm not going to be using potions really very much, but just to kind of show you what they do, like this one removes some of your vitality, which is your life, but it also gives you resistance to incinerate and bleeding. And this potion right here, Swallow, gives you better vitality regeneration. Cat is a potion that gives you the ability to see in the dark. You have bombs that you can equip to put them into one of your slots, so you want to do that. You also have traps that you can put into one of your slots as well, so that you can use those if you want to. And then all of the alchemy ingredients and crafting items we'll use later. You have different diagrams that allow you to craft stuff. So I'm going to be showing you how to use crafting real quick right here. If you hold down LB, you will go into this menu here, and so you can switch between your spells, and you can also select any items that you have equipped there on the right, bombs or traps, and you can also switch between your swords. If you put it in the middle, you'll select meditation, which goes into this menu, which will be useful. If you go into alchemy, you can look at all of your formulas and make any potions or items that you have the ingredients to be able to craft. So you'll see right here, the golden oriole gives you resistance to poison and such. If you look at the Petrie's filter right underneath it, that helps you if you are focusing on magic, and it gives you a bonus to your signs, and +7 is pretty dang good. So that potion can help you a lot if you're focusing on magic and if you feel like you need it. I'm going to go ahead and make one of those. I'm going to be making some potions in order to get an achievement here. So I'm going to go down here to the semum, and those are your bombs, and so I'm going to go ahead and make one of those. I don't think that actually counts toward the achievement that I'm going to be showing you right here, because I made one of the Petrie's filters, and then I also made one of the bombs, and now I'm going to come up here and make 3 of this formula for Rook. The achievement is for making 5 potions, and you'll notice that it does not pop. And so what I'm going to have to do is go back into my alchemy and make 1 more potion so that I get my achievement here. And the reason for that is that I don't believe that the bomb counted as one of the 5. So I'm going to make 1 more, and there's your achievement, Apprentice. So you don't have to do that right there if you're not going to be using those formula, or if you're not going to be using those potions rather, then you don't necessarily have to do that there, but it's just an achievement that you can go ahead and get out of the way if you'd like. So I'm going to be showing you now real quick how sort of the mechanics work. We are going to be doing some fighting. Something to note is that you have different swords. If you push left on your D-pad, you will equip this sword right here, the steel sword. If you push right on the D-pad, you will equip your silver sword. And it's important that you use the steel sword against human enemies and the silver sword against monsters. And if you don't do that, then you will take forever to kill something, and that is not good, especially on this difficulty. So you want to make sure that you get those correct for the correct enemies. You use your magic with Y. The most important spells, in my opinion, are Kin or Quinn, which is a spell that absorbs damage. So it lets you take some hits, which is good for this difficulty. And Igni is a fire spell that does quite a bit of damage when you start leveling it up. So those 2 are the main ones I'll use. I will be using some others as we go through the game, but those are the 2 that I use most often. I'm also going to be focusing on using magic quite a bit, especially here near the beginning, because the fighting can be a little bit finicky. So just so that you know, I will be showing you how to use magic here. We're going to start this quest phase here of By the King's Will, and you're going to have another opportunity to grab an achievement right here called Eagle Eye. he's going to ask you to focus on an enemy here, and it's just this little guy right here to the left. You want to make sure that you aim your ballista right there. If you get it right, he's going to say 1.5 degrees, and you will see a cutscene here where you fire your ballista and it takes this guy out. And so that will give you the achievement. You have to go through kind of a bit of cutscene stuff and loading before your achievement actually pops, which is kind of strange. So I left this in just to show you kind of how long it takes and to not be worried that you didn't get it if it doesn't pop right away. As long as your character said 1.5 degrees and you saw that cutscene where you saw the wall in front of the guy get destroyed, you will get this achievement. You'll see that it loads in an entirely new area, and then you get your achievement, Eagle Eye. So just to note that, you will get it if you do it just like I did. So I'm going to be speeding this part up here. All you're doing is following the king up the ladders and doing a little bit of exposition. And you're going to be going into this next section where you're going to have some combat, finally. So, talking about a few combat techniques. Here in the beginning, you're going to want to focus on guys who are distracted by the other soldiers, and that's going to help you to not get hurt during this first little bit, which is always good. Your A button gives you a quick attack, and your X button gives you a heavy attack, so you want to make note of that as you're going into these sequences. I generally focus on the quick attacks as opposed to the heavy attacks, just because the heavy attacks take a little while in the animation, and that leaves you vulnerable for a longer period of time to get hit. And so you'll see that I'm sort of rolling behind guys and just wailing on them with my light attacks. And that's kind of how you want to take care of those guys. You can also use magic there, or throw bombs, or do whatever it is you want to do. But afterwards you want to go and make sure that you loot all the corpses that you can loot, because as I said before, looting is very, very important, because we're going to want all the items and all the money that we can get to be able to get the special armors that you have available to you on this difficulty, because they are going to help you out immensely. So you're going to come around here and you're going to be tasked with getting through a barricade. And before I go down here, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do a couple of things. So I'm going to put a whetstone on my steel sword because I'm going to be fighting human enemies, and I'm going to make it give you a little bit of damage boost right there. And then I'm just going to show you that you could drink some potions. I'm actually not going to drink potions right now, but you could go into this potions menu and drink a couple of potions to give you a stats boost if you need it, because this area here at the beginning, honestly, these first areas are probably one of the toughest sections of the game, just because you are such a low level and you don't have very many perks and things available to you. And so these guys are capable of killing you pretty quickly if you're not careful. So make sure you put your steel sword on and not the silver one, and you want to come around here, and I put on Kin, and you'll see that you have that little magic around you there for a little bit, and that absorbed a blow. And what I'm doing right now is trying to target one enemy at a time, kind of roll around them and hit them, and try to take them out pretty quickly. You can use Kin there a couple of times. The only thing to remember when you're using the Kin spell is that you can't, your magic ability doesn't come back until that is gone. So that's just something to note. I'm actually going to save there. I'm going to be cutting out most of the saves, but I wanted to keep that one in just to remind myself to tell you, you want to save a lot. You want to be saving all the time. Anytime you get through an area that is tricky or that you don't want to do again, you want to be saving. So make sure to do that, when you can. When you have, anytime that the left top area up there is red, it has that red glow around it, you cannot save. Anytime that it is not red, you can save. So I'm going to come around here. You want to kind of get these guys to come after you and be sort of going around this log pile and coming over into this area. That's because there are guys with arrows, and they will be shooting at you if you get too far over to the left. And they can do a lot of damage to you really quickly. So you just want to be careful. Let your health regenerate. Come up, use some magic on this guy. Get him to come after you a little bit. Make sure to stay behind these logs so that the guy with the crossbow does not hit you. And then come around and let your magic regenerate. And take him out with the last little bit there. You can come around and kill this dude. And then I think that there's one more, up top here. And you can sort of roll behind him and kill him. And that's a tactic that I'm going to be using a lot. The sort of try to time your roll so that you roll under or around an enemy's swing so that you can get around behind them and kill them from behind. Sometimes that doesn't work because the game is pretty finicky about its hit detection, and sometimes you will get hit when it seems like you shouldn't. Actually, I think that guy right there might have gotten in a little bit of damage on me as I was rolling around him. And it seems like you shouldn't be taking damage sometimes because you completely just rolled underneath their swing, but sometimes you will get hit regardless. So that's why I kind of focus on using magic as much as I can, because it's just a little bit more reliable, a more reliable way of staying alive. So when you come up here, there's going to be a bunch of guys around this ballista. You want to try to take out this guy right here before these other dudes notice you're there and catch up to you, so that sort of takes one guy out. And then I'm just going to be running around waiting for my magic to come back, because you do not want to take on this many guys at once. When you can get them sort of isolated, you see how much damage that did. When you can get them isolated a little bit, you might be able to get in a couple of swings. As soon as they start blocking you, though, you need to get away because they're going to hit you. And you want to just make sure that you're rolling around, waiting for your magic to regenerate, and getting in some hits on them. You definitely are going to be in a lot of danger of dying to even small groups of guys like this early on in the game, because they're just going to do massive damage to you, and there's just nothing you can do. And so the safest and most reliable way of taking these guys out is to use your magic. And you'll see that sometimes I'll get a little bit daring and try to get in some sword hits on some of the guys, and that could have killed me just then if my health had been a little bit less, or if he'd gotten in a better attack. So you don't want to be too risky right now, because you will just get slapped in your face. And no one likes to get slapped in their face. So you'll see me being a little bit hesitant and tentative with enemies sometimes, especially here at the beginning, and that is just because everybody is very dangerous right now when you're such a low level. And so we want to take out this last guy. The reason that I didn't push back here to start with was because I wanted to try to get as many of the guys up here as possible to come toward me one at a time or only a few at a time. The fewer guys that you have to deal with at once, the better, because you'll actually be able to, you know, roll behind them and stuff. Something that you want to make sure that you do that is missable right now is to come around here to the back right and come look at this guy who's in this white robe. And he looks like an Assassin's Creed guy, and it'll say assassin. And so you have this new perk that you just picked up by finding this guy, and I'll show you what that is. If you go into your character screen and you go into your attributes, if you look over at the abilities, it will say Assassin level 1, and so you get plus 25% damage when attacking from behind. So that is going to help you out a lot. You definitely want to make sure that you go back there and pick that up. And then come up here and start working on your Ballista. So you just want to be rapidly pushing A, and that will help you to get this Ballista in place so that you can fire it. You're going to have to be doing this a couple of times, and in between those times you're going to have groups of enemies. So you want to kind of immediately sort of roll back away from these guys. Sometimes people will come out from behind you as well, and so you just want to sort of be aware of the situation, and you want to be kind of moving around and not getting caught unaware. And again, just sort of rolling around this guy, using your magic. Any of the guys with shields, if you can get around behind them, and especially now that you have that assassin ability, you can do pretty good damage to them if you can get around behind them. And then we're going to push A again to continue to get this Ballista in place. And then we're going to have another wave of enemies. And again, you just want to be sort of moving around a little bit to kind of get a sense of who all is around you. Go in for a couple of hits and get back out. Use your magic, let it recharge, sort of roll around these guys, try to get them separated if you can, and take them out. You'll notice that even at this sort of level 1 ability level for your Igni spell, it does quite a bit of damage. The only problem with it here at the beginning is that you just don't have a lot of range with it. Like, you have to be pretty close up in somebody's face in order to get it to actually hit them. So that is kind of a downfall of it right here at the moment. So you'll notice the shiny thing that sort of radiated from me. That was because I accidentally pushed in on my left stick, and you'll see me do that kind of a bit here. Just because sometimes when I'm moving around I accidentally click that. That's just to use your medallion, and I'll be showing you why that's useful a little bit later on. It just helps you pick up some perks. But now that you have hit that Ballista a third time, you've aimed it, shot it, knocked down the barricade, and now you can go up here and proceed with this mission. So we're going to go up here, we're going to climb up, and if you've killed all these enemies that were up here, you won't have anybody to deal with. A reason why I went ahead and killed them all to begin with was that I didn't want them irritating me while I tried to take out the guys at the Ballista. So when you come up here, you will fight another group of guys that are kind of distracted by your friends, and so that helps you sort of pick them off one by one. But you still want to be careful because they will get in some shots on you if you're not careful. So once you knock down the barricade and are able to continue on with this section, you're going to be moving on to some tricky little areas right here before we come up to a little mini boss that we'll be able to take care of, and you want to make sure to do that in a particular way. But all that will be coming up in the next section. I'm going to go ahead and split the prologue up right here. And so I'll be seeing you in the next video. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you are enjoying it and finding it useful, and I will see you in the next section.